does. This man is everywhere. Vaccinations, climate change, weather manipulation, population control, GMO. And then to give you an idea of what's kind of happening in terms of population control and another angle on it, biggest study ever confirms drastic decline in male productive health. They are targeting male sperm counts as a population control reduction mechanism. Now, this story is so crazy, you'd think it is crazy, but it's actually true. Well, first of all here, the third generation of rats fed GMOs are sterile. They can't have babies, okay. But this is called the epicyte gene. And this company, they developed this gene which kills male sperm. And if women have it, when sperm enters them, it kills it. And obviously, if it enters a male, it kills it anyway. And they genetically manipulated this gene into corn. And then DuPont and Monsanto took it over. So why would anyone want to promote corn that made you sterile? These people would, for reasons I'm talking about. The other thing of Agenda 21 is to get rid of old people once they can no longer serve the system as a slave. All over the world we're seeing this. The Liverpool care pathway in this country. They call it something else now, it's just the bloody same. Take away drugs and food and everything, make them die quicker. There you go, 1 in 100 patients on death list, GPs told. Frailest to be asked to choose end-of-life care. Get rid of the old people. They can't serve us anymore, they're too bloody frail. Get rid of them, that's what they say. Do you want me to let you die? Question nurses on home visits are told to ask elderly patients they've just met. This is happening all over the place, and it's all into Agenda 21. And then there's the war zone called Planet Earth. They are devastating the environment of the planet, be it rainforests or whatever. And Monsanto, they want to replace all natural crops, seed varieties worldwide with GMO. They're introducing GMO grass, GMO trees, GMO frickin' everything. They're even introducing genetically modified insects and putting them out there. They are changing the nature of our reality. They are modifying it so it suits them. Monsanto's Roundup Ready GMO grass about to be approved and fed to cattle. And what they're doing is they're increasingly making the planet inorganic. They're turning it into their world. This is what we're seeing. Trees and plants the world over are dying because of toxic soil, water, air, and chemtrails. They're killing the planet and they're killing it. Look at this. Bees pollinate at least 1/3 of the human food supply and they're killing them in unbelievable amounts now. Honeybee population collapse continues. Nearly 1/4 died over the winter. Death rates unsustainable. And what does the Environmental Protection Agency do in America? They expand the use of bee-killing pesticides. Why? Because it's systematic. They are killing life because they are an inversion of life and they want to turn this world into theirs and fuse the two together. Half the world's wild animals have disappeared in 40 years. This is something of beauty. I must destroy it. The global death cult. This is what's behind this. It's not ad hoc. This is the world of the natural order. This is the world of the archontic distortion, and they're pushing this world into that one before our bloody eyes. Archon wars, well, yeah. There you go. We are the Rothschilds. Governments make our tea. We see governments declaring war. They declare war on behalf of the hidden hand. All these organization, including Rothschild Zionism, which is actually not Jewish people. Rothschild Zionism is a secret society created by the Rothschilds, controlled by the Rothschilds, and they run Israel as their bloody fiefdom. This is not about Jewish people. It's not about Israelis, if they only realized it, and a lot of people do. This is about using Israel. This is about using Israel and the Israeli people in general, though most of them don't know it, but some do, as just a tool to create mayhem in that part of the world. I mean, you know, the truth is, and this has come from people like Shlomo Shland, the professor of history at Tel Aviv University, what we call Jewish people, particularly what they call Ashkenazi Jewish people, they have no historical connection to Israel. They come from another people, not least they're from Khazaria around the Caucasus Mountains. All this story about going back home, it's a creation of the propaganda. Not by them, they've bought the propaganda. They believe it, most of them, but the Rothschilds are behind the propaganda. The Balfour Declaration in 1917, which said that the British Empire supported a homeland for Jewish people in Israel, Palestine as it was called, was a letter to Lord Rothschild, who funded the Round Table Secret Society, from Lord Balfour of the government, who was an inner circle member of the Round Table Secret Society. It was a letter between two members of the same secret society. And this systematic destruction of the Palestinian people was planned from the bloody start. And because, you know, we stand by and see the psychopathic mind do that to Gaza, and we have this genetic breakthrough for critics of Israel. You're not allowed to criticize Israel, or you're a racist, or you're this, or you're that, or the other. And organizations like the Anti-Defamation League, the ADL, which was a Rothschild creation to target anyone getting too close to the truth about them and their networks, just brand anyone a frickin' racist if they challenge what Israel is doing. I don't give a shit. To learn who rules over you, simply look at who you're not allowed to criticize. Voltaire, exactly. The most racist creed on earth at its extreme brands the rest of the world racist. I beg to bloody differ. This is the US and Israel. This is the special fricking relationship. And there's a reason why. And it's not to do with Jewish people. It's to do with these people, the Rothschilds. They control the US, they control the UK, they control the European Union, and they control Israel. Why would these fiefdoms of the Rothschilds criticize another fiefdom of the Rothschilds? This is why Israel gets away with mass fricking murder over and over again that any other country, bar America and Britain, would not. Now, what the American military have done is carve up the world into comms commands, the arrogance of it. They've got a North Command to internally control North America, South America, AFRICOM, CENTCOM, which is the Middle East, dealing with all this ISIS stuff now, PACOM, whatever they bloody call it, EUCOM. But actually, that's not the American military. The American military is merely a tool of the global network. What that is the first forming of the World Army command structure. So when that is absorbed into the World Army, it will already be in place. That's what it's about. They call it the US government, but it's merely a glove puppet for the global hidden hand. That's why its decisions and policies, like these in this country and other countries, do not benefit the people, they benefit the hidden hand. That's where it's coming from. These people are these secretaries of state declaring war and pushing for war. They're merely tools of this Rothschild and wider network. I've said here, another 30,000 years of this, and we'll have buried all the people we've killed. And 30,000 years, it's probably a bit optimistic, because here's an article, a study, US regime has killed 20 to 30 million people since World War II. But they're the good guys. Always money for war. Always money for war no matter what. Why? Because it's serving the agenda, and that's where the money goes. Mark Twain, God created war so Americans could learn geography, right? Here we go. Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, Syria. This is Homs in Syria before they funded the rebels. This is Homs now. This is Libya under Gaddafi. This is Libya under American democracy. And what is that? It's the Archon world. Come out of the masses. Stand alone like a lion and live your truth according to your own light, not someone else's version of it. Expressing our uniqueness is a revolution that will change everything, because the program depends on that not happening. It is better to live one day as a lion than 100 years as a sheep. What's the point? Doing what is right, no matter what you are told, is the spirit of change. Because if you don't do that, you're just operating within the circle and nothing changes. You have to step out of the circle and do what you believe to be right rather than what you are told to do, to break out of the program, out of the circle, and thus move society forward. Do what is right, not what is easy. What a bore doing what is freaking easy all the time. It's easy on one level, though, not with opening up to consciousness, to actually stay with your head down. Oh yeah, I'll just conform. But if you want to express beyond the program, then we have to do things that sometimes we find challenging, like speaking our truth in a world that doesn't want to hear. It's just freaking smoke. Leaving the herd, that's the revolution, because the herd is the program. So if we leave the herd, we leave the program. Oh, it's so simple, expressing our uniqueness. Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. That's how you change the world. That's how you change the world. It's the only way. One who follows the crowd can go no further than the crowd. What is that saying? One who follows the program can go no further than the program. And you stay in the matrix. Those who walk alone are likely to find themselves in places that no one has gone before. And it's those that have gone there and brought that back, brought that awareness back, that have, through what we call human history, changed everything. And the only things that have changed everything. The first step to change is decide that where you are is not an option, and then go for it. Go for it. Not sitting around, well, what are the, jump! And you find you can fly. Doesn't mean there ain't challenges, but my God, you find your life changes, and it becomes the adventure and not the chore, not the round and round the garden. It takes nothing to join the crowd. It takes everything to stand alone. And it's those who stand alone that change everything, because those that stand alone are outside the program. As I said right at the start of the day, today's mighty oak is just yesterday's nut that held its ground long enough for perception to move and see that it wasn't a nut all along. Small minds cannot comprehend great spirits. To be great, you have to be willing to be mocked, hated, and misunderstood. And you need to stay strong, because otherwise you get pulled back in the program. What a great quote this is from Bob Marley. And I tell you what, even in recent times, I've freaking learned this one. You never know how strong you are until being strong is your only choice. It's amazing what strength we can manifest when the situation demands it. Where in our minds, when we're thinking about it, we think, I don't have that strength. And then suddenly when it comes to it, you do. It's taking responsibility, because what we don't face, we cannot change. This is why the New Age is, oh, it's negative. They'll never change a freaking thing. Never change a thing. They're just in denial. They're just in escapism. You need to face what we need to face, and then we can change it. I can't see nothing wrong. Everything seems fine. Escapism. Escapism. It's your road and it's yours alone. Others may walk it with you, but no one can walk it for you. We're all unique. Destination is a choice. Give up, give in, or give it all you've got and refuse to give in. And we're entering we're in these challenging times where we need the power of the heart that won't give in, that won't take a step back because things are happening that make it fearful. This doesn't do fear. The heart is the ultimate power. It won't stand back. It will stand up to what it believes to be right, no matter what the situation is. And that's what we need. Persistence. This great quote here. Now that we've exhausted all possibilities, let's get frickin' started. Persistence. If you have the power of the heart, and the persistence of keeping with the power of the heart. No matter what we face, we can change anything. Together, we can change everything. The person who said it can't be done should not interrupt the person doing it. People say, there's nothing you can do about this conspiracy. The conspiracy depends on us believing there's nothing we can do about the conspiracy. Bollocks to that. The conspiracy is coming down. It's in the process of coming down. It may not seem like it, but my God, the cracks in the dam are becoming more and more obvious. There's a phenomenal wake-up going on around the world. Leonardo da Vinci, it's long come to my attention that people of accomplishment rarely sat back and let things happen to them. They went out and happened to things. I've been impressed by the urgency of doing. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Being willing is not enough. We must do. People say knowledge is power. It's not. The use of knowledge is power. Having knowledge and not using it is might as well not frickin' have it. One of the responsibilities of starting to understand what is happening is to express that and communicate it so more and more people have access to it. It's a responsibility for the gift of knowledge, for the gift of awareness. The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion. That is the revolution. This is what I believe is going on. This is what I believe about reality. Hey, you're bloody mad. This is what I believe. This is what I believe about reality. I just keep going. Keep communicating it. No matter what people say about you. They'll be saying something else tomorrow. A slave is one who waits for someone else to come and free him. How have we seen that through history? People under oppression waiting for someone else to come and do the business. We need to do the business together. And then, together, there'll be no more slavery. If we stop acting like slaves, there'll be no more slavery. Human race, get off your knees. We get off our knees, we look this system in the face, and we say no more. We're not cooperating anymore with our own enslavement. And the thing is, the power is with us in numbers alone. We don't understand our true power. I mean, look, don't panic, organize. I think I see an answer to this. It's in front of our faces. This system is a house of cards, a row of dominoes, however you want to symbolize it. Push one down, all the buggers have gone. Divide and rule is there to stop us responding to this in unity by fighting among ourselves. I mean, if you've not seen it, it's worth watching on YouTube. This is a video called The Tiny Dot. And what it does is show the numbers comparison between the American people, and this is only some of it, and that which is dictating to the people and dictating their lives and changing the laws that impose themselves on their lives. We are the many and they are the tiny few. And to stop us doing that, they have to divide and rule us. Look, 535 members of Congress dictating to 300 million people. What are we doing? And in fact, it's even less than that are actually doing the dictating. 650 MPs, 63 million people. What are we doing? And it's much less than that again, in fact, who are actually calling the shots. So what they have to do is divide and rule us. So we're fighting among ourselves, and therefore we don't focus ourselves together in unity on the common control system. So they play us off, religion against religion, politics against politics, income bracket against income bracket. And we need to understand that this conspiracy is not designed to enslave Jewish people, Muslim people, middle-class white people, conservatives, Labour, Republican, Democrat, whatever. It is designed to enslave all of us that are not in the 0.1%. That is, for goodness sake, let's concentrate our minds, put down our dividing belief systems, put them aside, and let's unify with what all of us are going to be affected by and increasingly are affected by. Let's look at the control system that wants to enslave us all, and let's work together to bring it to an end, because we have the unity, we have the numbers to do that. We fight among ourselves. Resentment. Carrie Fisher, great quote. Resentment is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. Well, let's put this aside for goodness sake. All this internet stuff you see, all this abuse. You know, at Anonymous, typical example, at Food Nutrition, I'm a 30-year-old fitness fanatic and food expert, and you're wrong, you dumbass. All this is going on. All this abuse. All on these conspiracy sites where all this abuse is going on, and they say they want to change the frickin' world. They're just perpetuating the world that they say they want to change. Look at all this, slaves fighting slaves. Can't we see it? Can't we see that there's a common enemy, if you want to use that word? I don't like it, but there's a common focus that we need to look upon and deal with. And while we're fighting among ourselves, and while people in uniform within the 99% are policing on behalf of the 1% or less, the system goes on. And this is one of the biggest divide and rules of all. Me, me, me. At least, you know, if you're in a religious group or belief system or political, whatever, at least as a group if you're divided from a group. What me, me, me does is divide every individual in me, me, me mode from the rest of humanity. Because the only decision that's being made on actions is what is right for me, me, me. Therefore, the rest of humanity is excluded from the decision-making process. It just isolates every individual in a little island, a little bubble, outside the rest of humanity. And what would change this world overnight if we started doing what we believe to be right and not necessarily what we believe to be right in the moment? Not screwing someone because we can, but doing the fair thing because we can. And if we just do what we believe to be right as opposed to what we believe to be right for us in that moment, that will transform everything, because this world's been created by people making decisions for their own benefit instead of the benefit of the greater humanity, the greater oneness, the greater I. And when we cut off the energetic sustenance of this force, which depends on low vibrational, distorted emotion and distorted thought, then the power is withdrawn from that which oppresses us. If we withdraw that energy source and bring in that energy source, the game is over. Because we turn the electricity off. We turn the nutrition off that feeds the beast. And again, we're back to the same thing in that Native American wolf image. Think love, think peace, think harmony. And then we turn the collective energy field, the energetic sea, into love, peace, and harmony. And the world is not what it used to be. Kindness, it doesn't cost a thing. Sprinkle that shit everywhere. It's a choice. You know, and I'm not standing here like, you know, cross-legged Buddha on a mountain. We all have these challenges to deal with. Hug the world to sanity. Give me a hug. Hug the world to sanity. Isn't that nicer than a conflict? Isn't that nicer than shouting at each other? What are we doing? And it's only a choice. It's only a choice, and people think it's trite and it's weak and it's not very much. It will change the frickin' world if we did this. Infinite love is the only truth. Everything else is illusion. When we realize that, we go outside the illusion. And I've been talking for years about the truth vibrations, right back in the early 90s, when I was told through a series of different psychics in different parts of the world at that time, the early 90s, that there was an energetic change coming that was going to act like a spiritual alarm clock. It was going to wake people up from the slumber, wake people up from the unconscious states that we have been manipulated into. And in 1990, when I started out and I heard that, there was no evidence at all that that was the case. Now, the evidence is massive. Well, I walked a lonely journey and there weren't many people on it, but now the number of people awakening, the number of people out of the mainstream that are awakening to things they would have rejected by reflex action is fantastic now. The truth vibrations are starting to tease open the programmed mind to perceive reality in its true sense and perceive self in its true sense. And like Like anything, momentum builds more momentum, but builds more momentum. And we are entering a period now in the next 10 years where much as the system will try more and more and more to oppress and suppress, the awakening is going to wash this away, because we, thank you, we will cease to, oh, gold. I think I used to be a goalkeeper, getting down in freaking installments now. Oh, I've got the sweat in my eyes. Thank you ever so much. That's ever so kind. You see, that was the kindness. And this truth vibrational transformation is happening. What I was told 25 years ago is the more awake will be affected first, and then more people and more people and more people, and eventually people who were solid gold asleep at that time would be influenced by it. It's happening, and it's exponential. So this is a wonderful, wonderful time to be alive, to see this transformation happen. There will be times when we think it won't be. There are times when we think the system and the program is too powerful, but it won't be. We are going to bring this system to an end by changing who we are and therefore changing the nature of where we are. 'Twas always so. Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. Martin Luther King. And therefore stockpiling weapons and fighting the Illuminati is just joining in the very conflict that feeds the beast. We need to love this world into a state of love. There is no other way of doing it. And what is love? People think love is weak. It's not weak. It's the ultimate power. It will not walk backwards in the face of anything that it believes is right. And love is not always about lovey-dovey stuff. Love is also about putting yourself on the line, speaking your truth, standing up against oppression, standing up against all the shit that comes your way because you believe that what you're doing is right and serving the greater good. That's also love, even though you might lose your temper here and there. The reason you're doing it is because of love, because you want this world so badly to be what it can be. Force taking over this reality that has fooled us because it looks human. And you know, this is today, the era of chimeras. Scientists fearlessly create bizarre human animal hybrids. Did you know that scientists are creating cow-human hybrids, pig-human hybrids, or even mouse-human hybrids? They're doing it now at our level of knowledge. And one day, very soon, or sooner than later, all the people who have taken the piss all these years are gonna have to face the fact that this is freaking true, and this is why the world is as it is, and when we understand it, we can do something about it. So shape-shifting. Another thing, I'm supposed to be kind of off with the fairies. It's so simple once you understand reality. Shape-shifting is possible, shifting from one form to another because the body is not solid. And I talked just a few minutes ago about dual information fields because of the dual DNA. And what we have is the DNA, which is one information field, the DNA, which is the human information field. And what happens is, as one information field becomes dominant, it changes the holographic projection of the dual field. So most of the time, virtually all the time, when we see them, they are projecting the human part of their dual DNA, which projects into the holographic world as a human-looking hologram. When there's a shift, they could do it at rituals, and they can also do it when they go through really extreme levels of fury and emotion, emotional anger. When the reptilian or the archontic part of the dual DNA, information field, becomes dominant, then the hologram reflects the information in that part of the dual DNA. And to the observer, and that's all that's happening, someone has shifted from one shape to another. All that's happened, there's been an energetic shift, and the observer has first decoded the human, and then decoded the shifted information field, and to the observer, that person has shifted from one shape to another. It's just the way two different information fields are being decoded by the observer. People send me things all the time, and they sent me this one a long time ago because it looks like reptilian eyes. I'm not saying it is, but it's just a symbolic example of how people have described to me, because the eyes go more than anything. They say the eyes are the windows on the soul, and that's absolutely true. And interestingly, a friend of mine has an associate who went through a study to, well, you can't agree with it, but I don't know him, but to develop iris scanning technology. And it involved him scanning, he said, 2,300 eyes or pairs of eyes. And he said to my friend, the most amazing thing about the research, as he looked at the eyes at very, blown up level, that around 4% of those he looked at appeared to be of reptilian type in appearance. That's about 4 or 5% is the figure that keeps coming back to me over the years. And interestingly, I saw a figure the other day, they reckon about anything between 4 and 6% of the population are born psychopaths. Whether that's connected, well, have a think, I don't know. Now, so what we're looking at is behind the painted smile, something very, very different. And you look here at one of the great traits of the reptilian brain. And of course, if you have more reptilian genetics, you're going to express the traits of the reptilian genetics information field more powerfully than the general population. And one of them is an obsession with ritualistic behavior and hierarchical structures of power. This is why things like royalty and the state are bloody obsessed with ritual. It all has to be at a certain time, in a certain place. It goes round and round, ritual, ritual, ritual. That's a classic trait of the reptilian brain. It's why people like Satanists are obsessed with ritual. The secret societies, of course, are obsessed with ritual. Religions are obsessed with ritual. Here you go. This is the lady. They're so freaking happy, these people, aren't they? Hey? They're so happy. And the emotionless state of so many of the royal family, the real genetically deep royal family, is classic reptilian brain archontic personalities. And you see the obsession with ritual. When they bring someone new in the bloody royal family, they have to send out a new list for who's got to curtsy or bow to who. I mean, they're bloody mad. It just happened to be head of state. Look at it. I know my place. Your lick majesty. Have you ever seen her do that to him? We elect him. We have no frickin' say in her. And yet, all these professions that are supposed to be serving the people, and anyone who wants to become a citizen, they don't have to pledge allegiance, an oath of allegiance to the people or the countries, to her, to the frickin' monarch. They have no power, they're purely symbolic to bring the tourists in. Bollocks. They're not even bloody British, the German royal family. Oh, look, Philip, is that the Luftwaffe? I mean, what the fuck? I mean, they place them in here, that's your head of state now, well, thanks very much. Does she speak English? Look in this one. We parasite off you when we have contempt for you, but you just let us do it while asking God to save me. What the fuck? God save the Queen! Bollocks to the Queen! What? And I have to bloody smile. There's a big England football match and all the players are lined up and the crowd are there and we're all patriotic. Oh, yeah, we are. And they go, long to reign over us, God save the Queen, launch a reign over us. I ain't, but many people, most of them are singing and demanding to be reigned over, suppressed, controlled over, dictated over. And that energetically has an impact, even though they don't consciously realize that's what they're doing. Just the national anthem, mate, it's not. See, it's lovely. They piss on us and we say it's raining. They piss on us and we say she's frickin' raining. There you go. And I think this guy's made the best statement ever about the Queen. I do. I love it. I think that's brilliant. It's fucking lovely. That's just absolutely perfect. Give that man a knighthood. So, in plain sight, this elite, it's not just arrived in the last few years. There's been a journey. It goes way back further than this, but you can pick it up in this ancient period when these very advanced societies, compared with much of the rest of the world, started to emerge in Mesopotamia, Sumer, Babylon, Egypt, the Indus Valley, and China. And these bloodlines came out of these ancient societies. The Chinese emperors used to claim the right to be emperor because of their genetic descendants from the serpent gods. And this is a major place they came out of, Sumer and Egypt, which became Babylon, which is now Iraq. The fact they're bombing the shit out of this place over and over and over and over again is because it has massive, energetic, I can't go into it now because it's too long even for the time I've got, but it's got massive energetic significance globally. And they're creating massive energetic mayhem there for much deeper reasons than just on the surface. So these bloodlines started moving up into Europe under different names. They became the hierarchy that established Rome and the Roman Empire. Eventually they started to locate in Britain, and then they had the British Empire. Wherever these bloodlines have focused themselves or located themselves, a freaking empire has followed. We now have the American Empire, though they will not call it that. And eventually, as this virus spreading, this influence spreading, reached a certain global point, we had global Babylon. And global Babylon came when all the European powers, not least the British Empire, went walkabout all over the world, creating all the bloody colonies. And at that point, there was a resistance to the colonies, and they appeared to pull back and let the empires fade. That was only on the surface. What did I say? Illusion. Communicating, they say, particles can communicate billions of miles apart. How? Because the billions of miles are illusion. It's one energy field reacting to itself instantly because it's one energetic field. And when you look at time and space, when you put like a computer game into a computer, all the information is on one disk at the same time, right from the start to the end. But you put it in the computer and that plays that out scene by scene. And as the scenes pass, you perceive that as the passage of time. And as you look at the screen and its depth and its perspective, you see that as space. But all it is information on a disk being decoded into that form by the computer. And it's the same with a DVD. Your perception of time when you're watching a DVD only is dictated by where you are in the DVD. So when you're watching here, your past is there and your future is there. When you're watching there, your past is there, your future is there. And yet, it's only dictated by that part of the information field that you are decoding at that time. There is only the now, that which is all. There is no time and space within that dazzling darkness. It's illusion. It's a perception of time that we have. And this is a great line. The present moment is the only moment available to us, and it is the door to all other moments. Why? Because there is only that moment. And the more we get pulled into the future, fear, more we get pulled into the past, regret, we're getting pulled out of the now into some illusory past and future. And what the left brain does is it takes information in that now and it puts it in a sequence. And that sequence appears to us to be the passage of time. We're back to the DVD. Einstein said, when you are courting a nice girl, an hour seems like a second. When you sit on a red-hot cinder, a second seems like an hour. That's relativity. Relativity is what? Your perception of how you decode reality. Time doesn't exist, clocks exist. Time is just an agreed upon construct. We have taken distance, one rotation of the Earth and one orbit of the Sun, and divided it up into segments, then given those segments labels. Why it has its uses, it's been programmed to live our lives by this construct as if it was real. We have confused our sharing construct with something that is tangible, and thus we have become its slave. We have a line that doesn't exist in the ocean. That's tomorrow, that's yesterday. It's not even bloody straight, look at it. And yet time controls ours. This is another newspaper article. Prison of the mind. Prisoners could serve 1,000-year sentence in 8 hours. Future biotechnology could be used to trick a prisoner's mind into thinking they've served a 1,000-year sentence, a group of scientists have said. Why? Because it's all an illusion. University in London has done a study on time and found that when great sports people are playing, they go into another relationship with time where they decode it to be slower than the rest of us do. That's why, we see balls going across a tennis court and you think, how did he get that back? But he's not seeing it in the same speed we are. I experienced this myself when I was in sport on one occasion. And so you have these, people from the so-called past which seem to be ahead of their time, like Da Vinci and Giordano Bruno, and all those things that Da Vinci came up with 500 years before they were shown to work. And people say they were hundreds of years ahead of their time. They weren't. They were beyond time. They were able to access that level of awareness beyond the program, thus beyond time and space, and that's where they got that knowledge. It doesn't matter if it's the Stone Age here or now. If you access that awareness, you can get that inspiration. The power of the heart, love, intuition, and intelligence. We've got this chakra system, this vortex system. This is the key one, the master one, which relates to the physical heart. And throughout history, the heart has been said to be the center of human power, and it is. The Heart Math Institute in the United States has done massive research on the true nature of the heart, both the physical heart and the energetic heart, same thing in the end. It's the body's most powerful electromagnetic field projected from the heart. The brain obeys the heart. More nerves go from the heart to the brain than go the other way. And the heart has brain cells because it is a massive form of intelligence. Thinking intelligence, innate intelligence. Knowing intelligence, thinking intelligence. Programmed intelligence, see through the program intelligence. And this is what they say. There is also new data suggesting that the heart's field is directly involved in the intuitive perception through its coupling to an energetic information field outside the bounds of time and space. And that's why you get intuition that knows far more than this thinks it knows, because you're accessing a much higher level of awareness when you come from that point. Open your heart and connect with all that is. Thinking, knowing. And that's why they want to shut the heart down through fear, through anxiety, through depression, through worry, so we don't use that access to the great forever. The research at the Heart Math Institute says that when the heart, the brain, and the central nervous system are in harmony, the person moves to a higher level of awareness. When they are not in harmony, they have a distorted resonance, incoherence as they call it, then you're not in that higher state of awareness. And this is the heart rhythm of someone in a state of appreciation. This is a heart rhythm in someone in a state of frustration. Coherence, incoherence. And look at the frickin' world. It's structured to constantly put us in states of low vibrational emotion and fear and anxiety and frustration. And in doing so, it takes us out of the true self and into the fake self. Open your heart, change the world. This is a great line from the great Bill Hicks. This is where we are right now as a whole. No one is left out of the loop. We are experiencing a reality based on a thin veneer of lies and illusions, a world where greed is our God and wisdom is a sin, where division is key and unity is fantasy, where the ego-driven cleverness of the mind is praised rather than the intelligence of the heart. Absolutely right. So let's quickly go to the digital construct, because I've been talking about going through the waveform, through the digital into the holographic. Numbers are simply expressions of states of waveform information. This is where numerology comes in. When people keep getting the same numbers recurring in their lives, God, that number again, what's recurring is the same energy information fields. So on one level, it's a waveform. On another level, it's digital. It's numbers. This is why numbers are so important, and so important in esoteric lore. And now we've kind of gone full circle, and now they are creating digital holograms, which is getting so close to what we're actually experiencing. It's unbelievable. This is, again, a mainstream article, and they look so real, digital holograms, so real that when Ford focused a digital hologram to show off a car concept model, people stopped, afraid to walk into it. They thought the holographic car was really there. That's the reality we're experiencing. That's a hologram, a digital hologram. And what they've now established is that these ACGT codes of DNA, they can be expressed, as with computer language, as a 1 or 0 on-off electrical charge. In other words, they cross over. And the Fibonacci sequence of numbers, where you add the number before to the next number to get the next number, 1 and 1, 2, 2 and 1, 3, 3 and 2, 5, can be found throughout nature, in the way that shells grow, the nature of the form of the human body, all these things, storms, waves on the sea, fingerprints. You find this because we're in a virtual reality universe, and one level of it is digital, so it must express itself like that. Symmetrical mathematics not only shows the nature of mathematics within our reality, it also emphasizes the holographic nature of our reality relating to those mathematics. So, given all that, is the universe a simulation? I've been saying it is for years and years and years. And here we have a mainstream article again. Physicists may have evidence that the universe is a computer simulation. How? They made a computer simulation of the universe, and it looks sort of like us. And this is from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, for anyone that thinks that, that's just kind of... Sacred king killed and eaten in a Eucharistic ritual. Dionysus rose from the dead on March the 25th, Easter. He was a god of the vine and turned water into wine. He was called King of Kings and God of Gods. He was considered only begotten Son, Savior, Redeemer, Sin-bearer, Anointed One, and the Alpha and Omega. He was identified with the ram or the lamb. He was hung on a tree or crucified. These people are all over the ancient world. It's just a recurring story. It's a story of the sun god. Symbols of the sun, not real people. The rising sun was a symbol used for Nimrod, Tammuz and Horus. So Jesus, Christ has risen. Jesus is the light of the world. Revelation, behold, he is coming with clouds and every eye will see him. He walked on water. The sun. And so you'd expect in the home of the Babylonian church in Rome that you'd have the same symbolism. This evergreen tree, symbol of Nimrod in Babylon, that's an original obelisk from ancient Egypt in front of it. This is above the chair of St. Peter. The sun and the dove, Semiramis, in the middle of it. There's sun symbolism all over the place. Again, the sunburst in the dome. In the other religions, you find, this is Mormonism. These are the symbols you find around the Mormon temple in Salt Lake City. The sun, the rising sun. This is from Ur in what is now Iraq, was Babylon Sumer, from about 2000 BC, and it is a symbol of the sun and moon goddess of that area of Mesopotamia. This today is the international symbol of Islam.
You go into the other areas of the world, you find the same sun god, moon goddess. They're the same religion, and they get their followers to feed the energy into the same gods that have created those religions. Vampiring that energy, closing the mind, creating a prison, dividing and ruling. Which brings us to secret societies, and of course religions are against secret societies, except another coordinate. The secret society network and the religions worship the same gods as each other. Guess who they are? This is the Eye of Ra, or the Eye of Horus, it's also termed. It's a massive symbol of the Illuminati, these bloodlines that sit atop the secret society network. That's why you have the all-seeing eye on the dollar bill, put there in the 1930s. It's the eye of CBS, Columbia Broadcasting. Columbia comes from a name meaning dove, Columba. AOL, the eye and the pyramid, from these corporations controlled by these bloodlines using the symbolism that the religions are based on. There is the rising sun in a Freemasonic lodge. There's the rising sun in the Vatican in Rome above one of the old popes. This is a picture taken inside a major Freemasonic temple in Boston, which I've told over the years I walked into with a few people, and there was no one there, so we kept walking and ended up in this bloody temple. It was like the Mary Celeste. Took these pictures. There you go, the rising sun. And this is a building just down the road from the White House. It's the Supreme Headquarters, the 33rd degree of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, and there's the rising sun again. And these are the same symbols you find in religion. Washington's chair. This is above the door of Downing Street in London. The rising sun. CBS News logo, rising sun. Side of that Boston Freemasonic temple, the sun. This is the Mother Lodge of Freemasonry in London, which was the base from where Freemasonry was introduced into the new United States and the colonies, and it's in Great Queen Street in London. Great Queen is an old name in Babylon for Queen Semiramis, and so the state of Virginia was not created or named as a result of the Virgin Queen Elizabeth. It was the Virgin Queen of Babylon, Semiramis. So you've got the secret societies and the religions both worshipping the same gods while thinking they're all different. And it's possible because of this structure where all roads lead to the same few. That's how Freemasonic and other secret societies structure themselves. Most Freemasons are down here. They never get up here. And up here is not the end for the chosen few. Because the secret societies we hear about feed into another pyramid, the chosen few, the bloodline few, into the Illuminati pyramids, which are also fiercely hierarchical. And that's where the real deal is in terms of control. You can also symbolize the structure as a spider's web, with a spider in the center and different strands, different organizations, different secret societies. The closer to the spider you are, the more elite the secret society. The further out from it you are, you start to hit the organizations that directly interact with mainstream society. Somewhere here might be the Bilderberg Group. Further out might be the Council on Foreign Relations and stuff like that, which are acknowledged to exist in America. But the real deal is here, which just dictates the policy down the spider's web. One of the secret societies near to the spider is the Jesuits. The Jesuits, which connect into the Church of Babylon, of course, in Rome, started by Ignatius Loyola in the 16th century. They call themselves the Illuminated Ones. Adam Weishaupt, who started a version of the Illuminati called the Bavarian Illuminati in 1776, or he was the frontman for it, was trained as a Jesuit. You find that over and over. It was the Jesuits that led the conquest of places like Africa and further afield for the colonies that followed. Many of the people, significant people in the world, Clinton there and Mugabe and George Tenet, head of the CIA at the time of 9/11, are Jesuits or Jesuit trained. This is the new guy at the head of them, Adolfo Nicolas. He's known as the Black Pope and has more power than the real one. The Knights Templar and the Knights Hospitaller of St. John of Jerusalem, ancient secret societies, the second one's now known as the Knights of Malta, they lock into this structure pretty close to the spider, and they manipulate events behind the scenes so the right people get the positions of power, the right decisions are made, the right legislation is introduced. And it's the Knights Templar, there's their symbol at the heart of the City of London logo, held by the reptile figures. They control the City of London to a very large extent. This is their original Templar church made famous by the Da Vinci Code, and just down here somewhere was where the Blairs were trained as lawyers. And again, they also have massive influence, the Templars, in the Temple area of London, which controls law, not just in Britain, but much further afield. Another coordinate, the Illuminati and the secret societies connect into what we call Satanism. They're just different faces on the same network. This structure connects into the satanic ritual structure and helps to cover up and stops it getting into the public arena on the scale that it could. They have been doing these rituals to their gods for thousands of years, and so why is it a surprise that the people who are the bloodlines today do the same rituals as their ancestors always did? People like Dracula exist. Certainly they existed with this guy, Vlad Dracul, Vlad the Impaler, on which Dracula was based. He was a bloodline from the area we now call Romania, and these people are not just energy vampires, they're blood vampires. They drink human blood. These bloodlines have always done this, and they still do it. People you see on CNN. A direct descendant of Vlad Dracul's sister is Mary of Teck, who's the grandmother of the present queen. This is from a B movie, but these things exist, these rituals involving kids, these sacrificial rituals. The scale of child abuse and child torture in satanic ritual and child murder is staggering. But because of the structure, where the power structure locks into this, it's covered up and not allowed into the public arena, and it's not investigated. All through history you have had the sacrificial ritual, more than a few times connected to the demands of the dragon that the sacrifice be made to the dragon. This is a dragon in Slovenia, which is from a story there of the dragon demanding that young children be sacrificed for its benefit. And these rituals that they do, this is from the movie Eyes Wide Shut, which was very accurate in the way it portrayed what was going on and what is going on.